A North Carolina resident wins $1 million from a lottery after feeling the urge to buy a $10 scratch off. So let's get right into this article. So you can call it a lucky feeling. Less than 1 week after moving to North Carolina, Jeremy Hartzell said he felt an urge to buy a scratch off from a local Quick Mart convenience in Marshall, North Carolina. The 25-year-old father of two who moved to Asheville dropped $10 on the big cash payout scratch off game and became $1 million richer. I came here to rent, but now I'm coming here to buy, Hardzell told the lottery. This couldn't have come at a better time in my life. The young father said he would also use the money to help support his children. Hardzell chose the lump sum of $600,000 instead of opting for the $50,000 over 20 years payout when he went to the lottery headquarters in Raleigh to collect his winnings on Monday. And he was still left with the sizable sum of $426,063 after North Carolina collected the state and federal tax withholdings from his winnings. So here's the thing that a lot of people need to understand. Because here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with playing the lottery if you just want to do it basically for fun, right? Don't expect to just win the lottery. But if you were to ever actually get lucky enough to actually win a sizable amount of money like this from the lottery, you have to really understand yourself and your situation to see what is actually best for you long term. Now, a lot of people would do what he did, which is take the lump sum, right? Which is all fine and dandy, except for that you basically lost 60% of your winnings, right? So instead of $1 million that you get paid out, you only get slightly above like half of the payments that you would have gotten, right? I think there's like 20 payments that you'd end up getting for like the 20 years, but you'd maybe only get like 12, but then you get taxed, so it's technically less than that. So it's pretty bad, right? It's basically like they pay you 12 out of 20, but they take taxes, so in reality you're more like getting like only like 8 payments instead of like 20. Like, it's horrible. But again, what people need to understand is that it really all depends on how good are you at managing your money, investing your money, what are your skill sets right now, currently, when you actually win the lottery, and what are your prospects in the future. And so, what I mean by this, if you're an individual that doesn't really have a lot of skills in life or specialized skills, meaning the reality is you may not be making more than $50,000 a year really ever due to your skill set and due to like lack of time to develop your skills or whatever, then taking a lump sum doesn't really make much sense. And the reason why I say that is because you are going to be still so limited on your income potential that it'd be actually better for you to take the annual payments because it's basically like boosting your income for the next 20 years of your life, right? So basically, you would one, get better at managing money, getting better at managing more money than you probably ever had in your life every single year. It would allow you to basically develop more and more skills through that time while still making more money so that when that money ends up eventually running out, one, hopefully you learned how to manage your money, invest your money, and also develop some sort of skill that you could end up making more than a combined 100,000 or more than the minimum of $50,000 that you'd be getting paid. Because a lot of people that do play the lottery are individuals who are basically poverty level or lower middle class. That is the majority of the segment of the population that plays the lottery the most. There's still people who make a good amount of money that play the lottery, right? But in relation to like how much they're spending of their paycheck, it's like nothing, right? It's like the equivalent of someone else buying like a $1 cookie. It has like literally no financial impact on their life. And here's the thing, like he's going to get $426,063. What is he going to do with that money, right? Now the good thing about, the state that he's in, North Carolina, a lot of the homes in there are very cheap. But is he actually going to be buying a cheap house? Probably not. Is he going to buy a paid off used car? No, probably not. Is he going to pay to develop some sort of his skills to make more money? Probably not. Does he understand how to manage and invest his money? Probably not, because if he was in the situation that he was beforehand of, now, I don't know if he was living paycheck to paycheck, but he's not excelling at life, then he probably isn't excelling at monetary matters. So let's continue. But also, it'd be kind of cool to win like $1 million, like on a scratch off, right? Just to say that you did. But also, this is another thing too. Like he's basically announcing to anyone, like, "Hey, I just won the lottery," right? Like it's just not a good thing. So Hustle chose the lump sum of $600,000 instead of opting for the $50,000 over 20 years payout when he went to the lottery headquarters in Raleigh to collect his winnings on Monday. And here's the thing, right? I know a lot of people may not like this option, and the thing is, this is the reality. If you're good with your money, and if you don't actually need to touch the money that you win, it would actually be better to get the lump sum and then invest the money, right? But the problem is, like I mentioned earlier, the majority of people who play the lottery are people in the lower income brackets, meaning they probably don't even make $50,000 a year. They might not even make $30,000 a year. Some might, but probably most don't. Thus, they're going to be touching this lump sum, which is something you do not want to do. That's why, if you are in a lower income bracket and you only win like a $1 million prize only, right? Or a $2 million prize, you know, the lower, I say lower, I mean, this is still really nice money to have, right? Like, no one should be complaining about winning this money. But these lower amounts, right? Like, this isn't like 10 million, this isn't like 15 or 50 million. People who play these lottery games that are of this lower income bracket, they really need to take the 20 years payout, right? One, to develop their skills. Two, to give them a little bit more buffer, to give them a little bit more freedom, to give them a little bit more time to like really understand themselves around money, like more money than they probably have ever had, and also what to do with it, right? Because here's the thing: if this is their first time ever getting any sizable amount of money, they're probably going to blow it, right? But if they only blow up their first year of payout, like it completely screwed themselves that first year, like spending all the $50,000, they still have 19 years to fix their problems, probably pay taxes if they ended up spending all the 50,000 because you still got to pay taxes. Like you have time to fix issues, errors you made that first year, still grow your net worth, still make really good money every single year, and depending on how you manage your finances, you could retire off of this, right? If you manage it correctly, if you manage your expenses correctly, that 20 years payout is basically like you living a retired life at that point. So let's continue. Still up at the size with some, yeah, 426,063 was what he got. Man, that sucks though. So the big cash payout game debuted in December of 2021, offering four 1 million prizes. Ticket holders have to match any of their 15 numbers to the six winning numbers to win the prize associated with the matching numbers. And Hearthstone won the final $1 million offered in New York or North Carolina Education Lottery will start the process of ending the big cash payout game. Hearthstone's big win comes in the same week that the two mystery winners claimed the 1.34 billion Mega Millions prize that captivated the lottery players across the country earlier this summer. Now, what's interesting is they also took the lump sum, right? And then they split this, so it's going to be like about like 400 something million, or no, like 300 something million for each of them. But they did it correctly. Like these winners, they did it correctly. What they did was they sought legal counsel and financial advisors, right? So that they could educate themselves on what is the best for them to do. Okay? So these people were smart in how they won the money. This individual, hard sell, right? Sad to say, he did not go through a smart process of accepting his winnings. And I'm just worried that he's going to completely blow the money that he made, which he probably already did, because having only 400 something thousand dollars from like a $1 million game sucks. Like it just sucks. So let's see some of the comments on this article. So as he gets older, he will realize how much smarter it would have been to take the annuity. With that cash flow stream, he could have easily gotten a loan on the house, and taxes would have been less on just 50K each year. That is true. I mean, financially speaking, that is actually true. So I agree. In this case, the winner got 12, the 20 payments up front, which cuts the total price to 60% before taxes. He then got $426,000, 24% federal withholding, 5% North Carolina withholding. With the annuity, he'd get all the 20 payments but pay far less in taxes when he gets the check. Over time, however, he pays more taxes because he's getting all of the payments. Moreover, if he sets aside 50% of that his winnings and invests it wisely, he'll make back a lot of money to make up for the taxes taken out of the check. See, this is the thing that I also agree with too. And the thing is, if he were to have taken the annuity, it would have allowed him the time to screw up, learn from it, learn and develop skills so that he would have been better at investing his money, managing his money, instead of just getting a massive check and completely, probably ruining his financial situation. Even more so. So it depends on the person and how they handle money, plus a person's age. Most are advised to cash out because the house he buys now will be worth far more in 20 to 30 years than he paid for it. If he makes payments for 20 to 30 years, he might end up even. The problem is, you could buy a cheap house in either scenario. Most people don't. You could go the lump sum route, pay like buy too much house. And this is the problem that a lot of people who get massive windfalls do. They end up basically spending a lot of money on things that they just cannot afford. They buy a mansion. They buy like a house that has like five, six bedrooms when they only got two people in their household, right? Like people make really bad choices when they get a massive influx of cash and they've never seen that type of money before. No matter who you are, right? You're going to be more tempted to do something stupid with that money. So takes the lump sum at the age of 25 and lets his name become public and the fact he is buying a house. So predators can raise the price when they see him coming. Now they're probably not going to be doing that because people are probably not going to know what happened. Let's see. What a genius. 426,000 is not that much money, let alone at his age, and especially if he is starting off blowing it. He will be broke in a year. And this is my fear, right? Because he has a family and whatnot, so I'm a little bit worried that he is going to blow this money, and that would be extremely sad to see. Let's see. So the government got 57% of his winnings, no risk for them. The immediate withholding rate is 29%. The federal government takes 24% withholding, and North Carolina takes another 5% withholding. Since he took the cash option, North Carolina paid him 12 of the 20 payments of $50,000 or $600,000. 29% of that is $174,000, so he took home $426,000. If he took the annuity, he would be taxed at $14,500 and get a check for $35,500 each year for 20 years. Either way, he will owe more once he does his taxes, but not at 57%. Yeah, and that's the thing. And the thing is, in this second scenario, if you're someone that basically only lives off of the 50,000, you would be paying technically less taxes if you don't make more money than that. So that basically, if you pretty much live like you're retired on the 50,000, you wouldn't really be paying that much. And also, if you were to buy a house technically with a mortgage, you could technically write that off on your taxes as well. So that could also help you as well. That being said, the main reason why I would want someone to actually do, again, the annuity, the 20 payments, the 20 years of payments, is because it gives you time to screw up, get better, make more money, and allow you the freedom to develop your skills so that you can go and make more money if you want to. So let's see. He will owe an additional $78,000 to the feds next year. The lotteries withhold 24% for Fed tax, 144K, but max Fed tax is 37%. So he owes 252K. This is why people who win smaller amounts end up broke and owing taxes. They didn't set aside rest of the taxes due to the lottery. Oh, though the lottery warns them. Okay, so yeah, thanks for letting me know I've edited my post. I was so focused on the immediate withholding that I never even considered what he might owe come tax time. Now, that's interesting. So someone needs to sit down and add up how much states and the federal government make from these tax windfalls. Oh, the hell? Well, that's weird. So someone needs to sit down and add up how much states and the federal government make from these tax windfalls every time someone wins more than $5,000. Every day, every hour, every state. And look, here's the thing. The federal government makes so much money from these lottery winnings, from the lottery game. And what's really disturbing about it is that this is basically a tax on poor people. So you have the federal government making a crap ton of money off of poor people wanting to get more money due to greed, due to them just wanting a better life. It's just a sad, sad cycle. And like for like a personal story, I've had a conversation with one of the people who, like sell lottery tickets at like a grocery store. And the conversation was interesting because there was a time where, for fun, I would play super, super cheap scratch off lottery tickets. I'm talking like $1 tickets. Because for some reason, on a very specific game, that was a $1 ticket, if you bought it in bulk, this very specific game, you would end up profiting like 60%. So if you spent like $100, you'd profit 60 bucks, right? Every time you bought it in bulk, right? So every time I would go there, I would actually show up with more money because randomly I found out like this just seems weird that I would keep winning on this game. Like it doesn't make sense, right? But I kept winning on that game. Now, funny enough, they ended up like getting rid of that game probably because I was the only one buying it that noticed that it actually made money, and it just kept on buying more and more and more. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know why they got rid of it. But either way, I had a conversation with the lady because during this very specific amount of time, I kept making an interesting amount of money from the scratch off, which I thought was hilarious. Which again, you should only do it for fun, which I was only doing for fun. And all the money that I made was basically from like my few initial fun plays, right? Because on one of them, I actually got like I don't know, like a $20 or $40 win, and then I just put that straight back in there because I didn't care about that money because 20 bucks isn't anything. But the conversation with her was that like I told her that, I would never spend money that would end up harming myself financially in terms of like playing the lottery. Because long term, no matter what, you're going to lose your money, right? Like the odds are not in your favor when it comes down to the lottery for any game, right? You can't play the lottery and expect that you're going to win. It's simply just for a fun thing. Only play for it for a fun thing, right? For like that what if scenario in your mind. But she told me that on the first, every month, there would be a retired guy that comes in, elderly, that would cash out his social security check with her and then immediately put all that money into scratch off lottery tickets. Every single thing. And he would immediately put in all of the winnings that he got from those scratch offs and keep on playing back to back to back to back, all on the same day, all in the same time, until he ran out of money. Which is an extremely scary thing, right? Because we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every month going straight into lottery tickets that probably he needs to actually survive, right? Like, ugh. Like, it's a hard thing to hear because a lot of people don't understand this, but the lottery is basically gambling, right? It's gambling. So you could get really addicted to this sort of thing because one, is it very gamified? And then two, if you get like a random hit of like a big win, you're like, oh, I only spent like $5 for like a lottery ticket and I won $100, right? You're gonna be more tempted to play the lottery again and again and again, and you may not win again for months down the line. So you can be really careful when it comes down to gambling in this sense, right? So I thought this would be a pretty interesting thing to kind of just cover because a lot of people do not make the right choice based on their personal finance situation when they get a really big windfall like this. If I was in his position, I would have taken the annuity. I would have taken the 20 years of $50,000 because then I knew I could literally do any sort of job, boost my income, and live a very good life, very good quality of life, and retire also later down the line very financially free. With what he did in his situation at the time, I agree with the one of the comments. He's probably going to be broke within a year or two, and that is going to be extremely sad to see. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, and learn how I got out of debt and grew my net worth, go to 40inbox.com or down below.